Tim, I like your vote on requiring lobbyist disclosures of bundled donations, but I didn't understand the no vote on protecting whistleblowers from employer discrimination. Can you explain that?
Well, there was no problem in protecting whistleblowers. It was the rest of the bill. I was in the minority party in the state legislature for 12 of my 16 years there. So I know what a minority is. But I didn't know what a minority was in Congress. In Congress, a minority actually means minority. Marvin, Susan, welcome. Good to see you. You know the Carlsons, I'm sure, well in this community, being Manchester residents, and one of my former opponents in the primary. And Marvin and Susan have been strong supporters and endorsers of me, not just in word, but in action and deed since the election. I've seldom had that opportunity, so they're special people who have not only said they endorse me, but they've written some hefty checks as well and done some shoe leather work for me also. But getting back to that issue, without having the full bill in front of me, let me tell you that it was filled with other restrictions that I, as a freedom-loving person and believing in America's people as opposed to an increase in government control and things, had to vote against some good stuff in the bills. The first farm bill that went across, we had worked significantly in committee, Democrats and Republicans, and the Ag Committee is the most bipartisan committee in Congress, because corn and alfalfa and chickens and hogs and turkeys are not Democrats or Republicans. And the districts are ag districts, not necessarily Democrat or Republican ag districts. We put together a plan that reduced subsidies, that put further restrictions in, brought us further to a free market economy for small business, i.e. agriculture. And then it went to the floor of the House with unanimous votes from Republicans and Democrats in committee, and Speaker Pelosi heavy-handedly put a 600% increase tax on subsidiary businesses in the United States. I voted against that farm bill on that way through. And that's the same thing that took place there with that bill. It happened over and over and over again. Yes, ma'am.
How will you increase support of immigrants? What positive steps will you take?
One, a bill that I co-sponsored was to make the Bush tax cuts permanent. That's what they've been called, the Bush tax cuts. Included capital gains, included the death tax, included a number of other taxes that affected businesses, that affected across the board the full spectrum of people, as it considered jobs, as it considered individuals, and making their livelihood. So that's what I would do. I would also work to reduce the unnecessary regulations that we have, that are extensive, that are redundant with, even if you think of OSHA and MI-07, the redundancies that are there. The environmental regulations that want to be expanded to regulate puddles, and I'd say that literally, I'm not just making hyperbole. Actual non-navigable waters on farm fields that are literally puddles. They aren't there, generally speaking, except after a big rain. EPA wants to come in and regulate those. Those all go to jobs and the economy, and we could go down the list. Yes, ma'am.
To follow up on that, you would extend the tax cuts that were made under the Bush administration. How will cutting taxes lead to more employment? I don't see a direct link. Do you have to disconnect that up?
Yeah, they always do. Whether it's a Republican like Reagan, or whether it's a Democrat like John F. Kennedy, or Bill Clinton, or George W. Bush. When you cut taxes, it always encourages the economy because there's more money in your pocket, mine, businesses, to use and expand jobs and opportunity. The best way to have health care is to have a job. The best way to have your own personal home paid for, not have to foreclose on it, is have a job. Now, I always add to it. It's not just tax cuts. It has to be spending cuts as well. Because frankly speaking, government has grown too large, too all-encompassing. They spend too much, they tax too much, they break our backs.